Hello, it's Leslie Waldron here from Wild Country Woman, and I did this as a keynote in a networking group that I attended virtually for the first time earlier on this week, and I had great feedback, and actually I thought it would be really valuable to share here. Some of you know all of this already, and others will be way ahead of me, but I really thought that it would be valuable for somebody out there who is panicking a little bit about their business and what they're going to do, what they can do. I'm not offering medical advice or support, and certainly not financial advice. Perhaps just a little bit of reframing of the situation. And a reframe in this case is, where is the advantage? You might think that's a crazy question to ask right now, but where is the advantage now? And can you find a positive for your business despite what are very, very uncertain times for many of us? So disaster thinking doesn't help. It's all very well getting in a panic, spending ages looking around on Facebook, on the media, trying to work out what the best course of action is. But the panic that many of us are feeling, and I can feel it kind of ticking away at the back of my head, isn't necessarily helping us right now. So how can we take ourselves from panic to positive thinking? I have a tendency towards the positive, an irritating tendency for many of those around me. But I thought I'd ask you, what tools have you already got in your toolbox for managing your mindset? And if some of those tools have been taken away, what can you do to create new ones? What do I mean by tools? I mean the things that take you out of panic and anxiety and into action and a sense of control over and out of overwhelm and into control. What those tools could be. I'm talking about exercise. That's one of my big tools. Spending time outside. I can't remember, I think I might not have shared here. I have a gratitude run practice. This is a slow and steady run where I literally use any negative thoughts that come up and turn them into gratitude. So, oh my goodness, the NHS is going to be overwhelmed, into thank you so much for the NHS and for all of the individuals in the NHS for the hard work they're doing. Oh my goodness, how is my business going to survive? Into what can I do to ensure my business's survival? And thank you for the opportunity to reflect on my business, how my business is set up. It could be that it's about meditation. It could be a journaling practice. All of those worried thoughts into your head, writing them down. As you write them down, sometimes you find that solution. And it certainly helps you get out of that whirling worry in your head into a list of things that you can potentially take action on. There are so many other tools out there, but my key ones are writing things down, getting out there, moving, and a gratitude practice, and a few other things. Movement is not only helpful for managing our mindset, but it massively helps with that stress that we're building up in our body, and with anxiety. Just letting it, moving, lets it all out. It helps with it helps our cortisol levels, it helps our blood pressure, and movement doesn't need to, yes, the gyms might be closing or closed already, but going out for a walk at lunchtime, we're still allowed to do that. Spending time out in the fresh air, combining movement and fresh air and nature is a brilliant thing to use at this time of year. But honestly, just getting up out of your desk, stretching from side to side, a couple of squats as you wait using a standing desk, sitting on an exercise ball, things that bring a little bit more movement into your day will actually help a little bit. And remember that if you're having to work from home, if you are not going out to meetings as much, you aren't moving as much as you normally do, even if you consider yourself to have a desk job. If the kids are at home, you're not walking them to school or taking them to school. How can you make sure that your days get more movement into them? And the other thing, which I'm sure you are moving towards now anyway, is creating routine and structure. Our brains like routine, our bodies like routine. Eat breakfast at the same time every day, even if you're not hurrying out the door. Eat lunch at the same time every day. Sit down and have a family meal at the same time every day. If you have children at home and you're trying to continue to work, how can you create a routine for them and you that facilitates the working from home, that both them and you? When that happens to me, I can see kind of breaking the day into hour-long blocks, and it'll be an hour on the kids and an hour on work, and I'll alternate with my husband. Hopefully that will work okay. But creating routine and structure, planning your meals, that kind of thing, planning new meals, trying new things, panic buying aside. What have you got in your cupboards that you haven't used for ages? But actually have a plan in place so you're not scrabbling around and panicking, and panic purchasing pasta, because actually right there at the back of the cupboard, there's like 3 packets. Anyway, have a think about how you can create routine and structure in your day, in your week. Make sure you have a proper weekend. And that should help with this sense of uncertainty as well, because it will create a little bit of discipline and a little bit more certainty. And then this final point, and one which I have found very helpful, is consider your audience. How can you best serve them? What are you seeing your clients facing right now, and how can what you offer really help? Whether it's in their own business, if you're more of a B2B, whether it's within your organization, whether it's your employees, whether it's your colleagues. Considering your audience, considering how you can serve them, how you can step up to the mark so that you will be remembered as the one who made that impact on them during this crisis, because it will fade. Everything always changes. We will go back to a different kind of normal maybe, but there is an opportunity for you to step up and into a really important role. Perhaps you're already in that and you are feeling the pressure, and I'll come on to that a little bit later. Look for the positive. Now, obviously this is partly how my brain is wired, and it can be very, very hard if you're feeling very anxious and very worried, stuck in panic, kind of stuck in your animal brain, feeling stressed. But try and look for the positive. So one of the things that I am seeing at the moment is all of these groups, local groups, emerging, coming together, volunteers all going, how do we support our community? And isn't that wonderful? Aren't we seeing some of the best in human beings at the moment? It's just incredible. Like, it's turned from a couple of posts in a community Facebook group to an organisation that is now looking at so many different aspects of how we can support vulnerable members of our community, but in fact, all members of our own local community. And that's happening all over the place via Facebook, via local email groups, through churches and community organisations. And this is just people volunteering and going, we're in a crisis, how amazing is that? And that community and that sense of connection and support are so highly valued, especially now when we're feeling this sense of, what does social distancing actually mean? It makes my heart break a little bit, because I love that face-to-face contact. But actually reaching out, using tools like Zoom, using online tools. Earlier on today, I went to get my neighbours in self-isolation, so I went and got him some bananas and then stood at the bottom of his driveway and had a chat. So we're 3 meters apart, but we had a little chat. And knowing that I'd made that connection both made me and him feel a little bit better. And so how can you help? How can you help facilitate that positive feeling of the community connection? How can your business help? And I don't mean giving lots of stuff away for free, but how can you be seen and perceived as a business, as an individual in your community, and help as well, really create this sense of community and connection? And then maybe business has slowed down. Maybe you are really worried about what next. And I know so many people who are, and I cannot address that here really, but if you're stepping back and you are really concerned about, whether your business will even exist, is this an opportunity to stop and reflect on some of the big ideas that you've had over the last few years, but you've just never had time for them because you're so busy running your business and being out there with people? Is there anything that you can think through and finally implement, so that when we are at the end of this crisis and you've kind of gone into kind of chrysalis mode and you've slowed down and you've reformed yourself and you can actually come out as this incredible butterfly? I'm pretty sure that analogy is being used all the time, but I think it's a brilliant way of thinking about how we are sort of slowing down a little bit and having to reconfigure things. Okay, back to how can you help others? And that's, even little things like making sure that you know your neighbours and that you can, things like, I'm popping down to the shops, can I get you anything? Can I wrangle an extra bunch of bananas? And then this being me and my enthusiasm for the outdoors, how can you use what's going on in nature at the moment to help support you in looking for the positive? It is the spring. This is the time of year when we're normally surging, when energy is surging and we're all feeling better, where it's a great time in your business to grow. It's not so great at the moment, but actually if you're feeling negative, if you can take time out to just go and find a green patch of land anywhere, and you will notice those daisies pushing up through. There are daffodils and tulips, there's blossom on the trees, and the leaves are starting to unfurl, and we start to get that beautiful kind of hazy green in the woodland when it's not quite out yet. Look, watch the birds searching for material to build their nests. Look to the natural world, see that it's all blooming and emerging, no matter what is happening out there further outside in the human related world. But the natural world is beautiful at the moment, and taking time in nature can help. But also it can really help you to consider the fact that spring happens every year. Even if we've had the wettest winter in 100 years, even if we've had the coldest winter in 100 years, even if we've had the warmest winter in 100 years, spring happens every year. And so does the summer, and so does the autumn. And Mother Nature, the moon still rises, the sun still rises, the tides still ebb in and out. Mother Nature shows us that we can contract and then expand again, that we can shed and regrow. And I'm finding that another really useful analogy. And the spring is a beautiful time to see that. It fills us with hope, and that there will be another spring again. Okay, so this is a very, very brief exercise that when you are whirling around in an absolute frenzy, feeling panicked, finding yourself scanning all of the news websites, worrying about what next, scrolling social media mindlessly, all of that jazz, and I can hold my hand up to having done that a bit over the last week or so, is just to stop, to close your eyes or just cast your gaze down and take a deep breath. And you take a deep breath and then you release it ever so slowly. I could tell you to count in for 4 and out for 6, or in for 7 and out for 11. But really it's about taking a deep breath in, sending that all the way down to your belly, all the way down to your feet, and exhaling slowly. And if you do that 3 times, that's all. It can take less than 30 seconds, and it just brings you into a different kind of presence in the moment, and it can take you away from the whirl and into a place in which you can make better decisions and take better action. And again, going back to an earlier slide, a moment of movement in every in every hour, if you can, even if it is just simply standing up from your desk and sitting back down again. You know, set a timer, go for a walk. If you go, if you live in a house that's got stairs, then go up and down stairs twice and then come back to your desk. Just simply take your arms up above your head and stretch from one side to the other and move. And I pretty much guarantee that if you were to take those 3 deep breaths and take that little moment of movement, stretching above and especially stretching the shoulders, which can be very, very tense this time, it will help. It will help take you out of panic into presence, and you can ask yourself that question: how can I find advantage right now in this moment? So what questions could you consider right now? What can you control? So this helps. So if you've got that list, that if you've written that list of all of the things you're worried about, what can you control? Now we know you can't control whether at the moment, this being the 18th of March, we don't know in England yet whether or not the schools are going to close. We can't control that decision unless we decide just to take our children out of school. We can't control that decision, but we can make plans about what happens when that happens. So again, going back to setting a schedule. Setting a schedule, creating something that will work for you, your business and your kids. Or in terms of, we don't know, nobody knows how long we're going to be in this strange situation of social distancing, of things being closed, of our businesses in status. But what can we control right now? We can control the content that we put out so we stay front of mind. We can control how we can control whether or not we stay stuck at our desk. We can control the food we eat. We can control whether we get to bed on time. We can look at our income and outgoings and manage those as best we can. What can we reduce? What can we pull back on? How can we make sure that we survive and stay sane? What can you control? Write that list of all of those things you're worried about and ask yourself, what can you control? I'm going to come back to that question. I've said this several times. Who can I help right now? Who needs my help? Because when we're panicking about something and we're worried about the implications on us, we're kind of stuck in this ego state, and it's not that comfortable a place to be in, and we start to see everything as a threat, which is not good either. But if you start to go, well, who can I help right now? That'll have a massive impact, potentially on who it is that you decide you can help. Can you put your hand up in the local community support group, or as I said, or contact a neighbour? But it can also take you out of, oh my God, it's all happening to me, into it's happening to all of us and I am part of the solution. And then a third question: who can help you right now if you're in panic? Or if you are worried about the fact that you can't get in regular exercise, if you are, and the impact that has on your physical and mental health, who can help you with guidance and support for your kids at home, who can help you in your offer business support for your business, who can help you manage your finances. There are some amazing people out there right now offering advice and support, as well as helplines that you can call for tax advice, and there were all kinds of things that were in the Chancellor's speech about business support as well, exploring those and asking those around you in your network, in your sphere, to see if they can help and support you. So I hope that's helpful. And if I can help, so I am by no means a business coach, and this is not the space that I'm in, but these were just questions and things to consider that I thought might be helpful in this place of uncertainty. And so if you would like to book a one-to-one session with me, just to think a little bit about structure, or about managing your self-care, or putting some order into that list of things, then maybe I could be the right person to help you with that. Maybe not. But drop me a comment or a message, and I'll get back to you. I hope that that's helpful, and I wish you all the best.